Parents of girls with OnlyFans. How did you find out what they do and what was your reaction? Not the parent, but the kid here. I make audio P. It's roleplay, where I talk to the listener as if I'm there, instructing them what to do to themselves or me. I started by sending audios to people I was dating, and they loved it so much I began selling them. Audio is so much fun because the overhead cost is basically zero. You can do any fantasy or scenario paid for by imagination. Anyways, my mom was incredibly persistent with questions about what I do because she knew I had all this money, but from her view, I never did anything. She was very upset that I had all this free time that I wasn't spending with her. I had my own place, and she was certain a man was somehow bankrolling me because I couldn't possibly take care of myself. I guess in truth, many clients are bankrolling me. I tried to deflect the questions, but one day she cornered me and would not let it go. I finally told her, I sell audio P. I spend my days writing and recording and editing scripts. That's where my money comes from, and that's where my time goes. Everything about me and my life has been predominantly opposite of what she raised me to be. And every time she finds out something new about me she doesn't like, her response is the same. She pretends she was never had the conversation and will frequently bring up alternative fantasy timeline that she lives in. When she sees my pagan jewelry, she will say, I'm so glad you're a good Christian girl. When she met my girlfriend, she said, you're gonna find a good Christian man someday. When I told her about my audio P, she said, I'm so glad you don't have to work anymore and you can spend your time relaxing doing new hobbies. My friends all know, and it doesn't come up outside of regular work talk / venting. Some of them have guest starred in audios about out of curiosity. A few have wanted help getting started on doing it their own, but changed their mind when they saw how much work goes into it. Very few people have seen my account or stage name. My parents have never heard my audios. I work hard to stay anonymous, because early I wasn't careful and had some dangerous encounters with fans who found me. Story 2. I had a fansly at one point. Not anymore. It was mild, just like lingerie pics. I make feet content. My mom said, since you already have a foot in the game, pun intended, I might as well go all the way and make less mild content. My dad said, I should get 10% since my balls contributed to you. And also, I need a few fishing pole in case you wanted to buy me one. My parents are built different. Story 3. I worked with a girl who showed me what she made in 9 months. $72,000. I personally saw this on her OnlyFans. I didn't live in a huge city, and she was definitely not ugly, but she wasn't drop dead gorgeous either. Average looking with no chin. Her personality was really cool though. All she had on her OnlyFans was professional photos, but she told me she took requests. I don't know what all that entailed, or how far she went with her requests, as I didn't bother asking her for details. She was pissed off and said she'd never do OnlyFans again, because when tax season came, they screwed her over and she owed thousands in taxes. I think she said like a little more than 4K. And she couldn't pay it because she was broke. That's why she got a regular job to pay for her taxes. I was just like, that makes no sense because all you had to do was put that money aside for taxes as you get paid, but whatever. I've heard girls much prettier than her say they don't make OnlyFans, but their personalities were shit. Maybe this one was willing to do things on private videos that others weren't. I don't know. All I know is she made a nice chunk of money off OnlyFans doing whatever she did. To be fair, was a few years ago though, during the start of the pandemic. Story number 4. My now 24-year-old daughter decided to get married at 18 and be a stripper. She was very blatant about it, and she liked the money and attention. We live in a small Ohio city where people frequent gentlemen's clubs and talk about everyone's business, so there was no hiding it. We found out about her OnlyFans and other services because she had teenage brothers and parents of friends that frequent those sites and found out. Her brothers have been devastated by the embarrassment of it. While I try to love and support her, it has to be from a distance because socially, it's been a very humiliating thing to know that half the country has seen or received services from my daughter, including my husband's uncle, who didn't know who she was at the time. I have a hard time looking at men in good light with this experience and situation of hers. I cried. I blame myself. I tried to encourage college. I got angry. Now I'm just checked out about it. She's willing to put herself out there for an easy lifestyle, and I can't change that. Story number 5. Not the parent, and I don't currently have OnlyFans anymore, but my dad found out because I went to show him something else on my phone, and he started swiping through my phone after. Lesson learned for both of us. I hold the phone, and he doesn't touch my phone if I'm showing him anything. And I religiously sort all photos and albums so people can only see exactly what I want them to see. He wasn't stoked, but it didn't change our relationship at all, and we mostly don't talk about it. I know 3 people who do OnlyFans content. One is a very attractive Muslim girl who I used to date. After we weren't really a thing, she started off lightly with just scantily clad pictures without her face. But people wanted to see her face and see more of her body. She did a few specials and realized that they made her by far more money. So slowly the content became straight up pee. She kept all this private from her family because they were very strict Muslims. Her mom found out one day after walking into her room seeing her laptop open with OnlyFans earnings on the screen. She didn't look around, but she asked what OnlyFans was, and so she told her mom, who told her dad. The next day she'd been kicked out of her family home. She hadn't spoken to her family in over 3 years, but she's in a happy place and is making bank. Another girl I know does lesbian OnlyFans content. I've seen a fair bit of her content as she shares bits on Snapchat to ask for some reassurance. She admits it to her family after buying them a new car, as theirs was having issues. Her mom is fairly supportive as long as she stays safe. The last one is my cousin. We were messing around at Christmas in 2019 with taking photos of people in the room and then modifying them with no hair. Crazy levels of smoothing, making them look like a baby, making them look old. She presses on the back button in the gallery, which takes you back to the tile list. If you press it twice, it takes you back to the tile view with all the photos from the phone. She accidentally pressed it twice, and there she is, legs spread open with a dildo. There she is topless, with her hands down her panties. My reaction was, oh. Her reaction was very quickly closing the app to her home screen. On the bottom right, there's an OnlyFans app. She didn't say anything. Instead, she went quiet, sat there, and then eventually she was going to get a drink. I followed my cousin out to the kitchen, where we were alone, and I told her not to worry. It doesn't mean anything to me. Nearly everyone sends or has received them. I couldn't care less and admitted that I've sent and received stuff. I asked her if any of her sisters or parents knew, but she doesn't think they do, but had a close call nearly getting walked in on her sister when she was recording herself in bed. I was struggling not to laugh, because she was mortified that I had seen. I asked her how much she was making from it, and she'd only been doing it for 6 months, but was already making £2,000 a month. No one else in the family knows she does it, but I helped her set up her phone so that the photos are hidden by default. Story 9. We have made custom fetish videos since 2008, husband and wife. Told parents a long time ago. Dad and mom are totally fine with it. Mine anyway. They just can't believe what people will pay for and what to see. Wife's dad wasn't thrilled, obviously, but he's not okay, as long as we don't give him too many details. At this point, we aren't in many videos anymore, but we still produce dozens a month. My grandpa was completely confused when I told him. He was stuttering and like, wait, what? I ended up showing him some pictures, and he said, Jesus Christ, I thought you were the good one. I was like, Grandpa, there's a picture on the wall of you in a Navy carrier holding a Playboy magazine right there. His response, that's normal. I had to tell him because he was always asking how work was, and I just don't like lying anymore. When my son found out, not my wife's biological son, that was awkward and not good at the time. He was 15 and said some really demeaning things about my wife, and when we had a talk, let's just put it this way, I didn't beat my kid, if that's what you were thinking. It was just a very loud talk/argument that wasn't handled very well. He's fine now. He's 26. We talk about it occasionally, about some of the weirder content I'm producing. Story 10. My sister one night, after a few too many drinks, brought up that she was hustling hard and making money off OnlyFans during a family get-together. This was after my dad nagging her about still not having a job over the past year, completing her business degree at an Ivy League school where he paid for her tuition in full. She was bragging about making $1,500 a month for barely lifting a finger, not realize she is basically making less than minimum wage, and considering her stupid spending habits, she has zero saving from it anyway, I'm sure. He was just supremely disappointed. He told her he was embarrassed and ashamed, not because she was revealing herself to creeps online, but because he felt like a failure that he had raised someone so lazy and entitled. She is genuinely an intelligent person, and she always thrived in school, so she is certainly capable of doing good work. But the friends she picked up in university have definitely negatively influenced her, as they are some of the most undeservingly entitled people I have ever had the displeasure of meeting in my life. One time, I was visiting her at her place, and her friend/roommate came back from a date and started about how the guy wouldn't buy a bottle of crystal champagne for her to drink because he was too cheap. On the first Date. Story 11. A few of my friends have OnlyFans accounts, and they've experienced a wide variety of reactions. Some parents were understandably concerned, others angry and horrified. Some were indifferent and shrugged their shoulders, justifying it with, well, at least she's earning some money and not starving. Wouldn't say any of the parents were supportive, but the one big thing is that they were all relieved their kid didn't have to travel to potentially dangerous places to service clients. One girl is a teacher, and after about 6 months of teaching, a snoopy student stumbled upon her OnlyFans account. Even though her face isn't shown in any of the pics/videos, all lingerie and strip teasing, she has a very distinct and visible tattoo that instantly identified her. School admin naturally voiced their concerns and strongly encouraged her, for the sake of her reputation and the school's, since they were getting angry phone calls from parents, to deactivate the account. But by then, the damage was already done to her career. Story number 12. My sister has had an OnlyFans account for about a year now. She lucked out enormously. She's really successful and brings in more than enough money to make it worth it for her. Our mother knew from day one. Sister in question called her as soon as she set up one, and I believe she downplayed the kind of content she would be posting. I asked my mom to share her thoughts. You know, I'm not allowing myself to really think about it or accept or feel any way about it. I don't want to know about the content. I'm in denial. Sister has told me that there's really nothing lewd on there, and I choose to believe her rather than investigate. Do I actually believe her? Probably not. It is not and has not ever been a secret. I think she's posted about it on her personal social media. Family all knows. Family friends know. It's honestly just so bizarre and surreal. Occasionally, our mom will just tell people about it, and when they ask in conversation what my sister does for a living, I just like to tell people she's a successful influencer, which is also true. Story number 13. Well, I suspected when I took the phone that she didn't want to pay for it back. As I was clearing it, I saw some of her ads. I asked her, and she denied it. Then a month later or so, I saw a "people you may know" profile on Instagram. After clicking it, I realized it was our daughter. She has a very distinct Halloween skeleton that I bought for her that she liked to dress up and was using it as a prop. My initial reaction was concern and disappointment, since she has a history of voyeur trauma. But I told her she was an adult and capable of making her own choices. I could see how it conflicted with her, but she felt safe since she wasn't making herself as anonymous as possible. She really doesn't like older men checking her out in person, and still doesn't, but figured that she should be able to profit off it online. A lot of mental gymnastics. I talked to her about safety and not meeting with strangers in person, and going to therapy so she can continue working through her issues. I had talked to my daughters in age-appropriate language as teens about sexual freedom, making safe choices, and I'd always taught them to respect sex workers as people and be non-judgmental. So, I wasn't too surprised since there was a wave in my town of people trying to start an OnlyFans. I also wasn't too worried, since I was sure it would fizz out, as the amount of work versus the money she told me she was earning didn't seem that good. Her dad was disgusted and disappointed. I talked to him about being supportive of our daughters regardless, since she's still our kid no matter what. It lasted only a few months, and she stopped due to a relationship issue it caused, as well as the pressure of always being on. We felt relieved after that. Story 14. I'm 32 female, and I had a conversation with my dad recently about OnlyFans. He said if he was female, he wouldn't hesitate to find the right niche and sell his ass, citing some news story he read about a woman who sold her used bathwater for thousands and took a luxury holiday with her boyfriend. I said it seemed like it could be easy money if you found your audience, and the main thing putting me off was the idea of actually conversing with people. I got the sense that he would certainly not be ashamed or embarrassed if I decided to make money that way. He's always been one for empowering his daughters. Story 15. I've known two people who have had to deal with this. One of my former coworkers found out his oldest daughter was doing OnlyFans, and he basically cut ties with her from what I heard. I think they were the religious type of family, at least him and the wife. So I guess to keep standing with the goody two-shoes crowd, he cut ties with his daughter. Then, I had a good buddy who actually dated a stripper, and they seemed to have gotten along fine. He was basically as down-to-earth as it is possible. I think he was one of the dudes that no matter what she did at the club, as long as she was with him and the kids, not worrying, not working, and a good family when women around, he took it in stride. So it can go either way. You know, it's just like when some women realize that they're sitting on a gold mine and they can't make money flaunting it. Hell, they're gonna do it. Beats working maintenance, I guess. Story 16. I got a good story right here. Last weekend, I was at my best friend's house. As usual, we cooked together, played video games, and so on. We started to talk about gaming PCs because I'm about to buy one, but I had no idea what's good but not too expensive. He said that his daughter bought a gaming PC a few weeks ago and he could show me the PC. So, she was in her room, so I thought I would ask her a couple questions. She's 20, by the way. So he knocked on the door twice, but no reaction. So he walked in. I didn't see anything, but I heard a scream. He shuts the door, eyes open like crazy. He just stared at me and said, "I think my brain just committed." He saw her naked, like completely exposed. Later, he told me he talked to her, and he was shocked, but he also told her that she gotta pay for her own food now and electricity. At the end of the day, he was shocked, but chill about it. She still was the girl I used to talk to for years, and I was the friend who still doesn't know what's inside her gaming PC. Story 17. A cousin of mine did it, and when her dad found out, he wasn't mad, given it paid for her rent. However, he was very upset when he found out she was also working the pole at a strip club a few days a month. Her only response was, "How did he think I paid for the trips I go on?" Story 18. My former boss's daughter did OnlyFans. Once it was known at work, he was open about it and even shared the link of her Instagram. There was even rumors that one of the guys we work with was one of the guys she used in a video. I guess he wasn't happy, but since it was out in the open, he must have been, F it, at least she'll make money. Story 19. My daughter accidentally sent the wrong video to the group chat. I'm a bit disappointed, but I thought she was selling drugs or something terrible because she always had money, but no job. I hope it doesn't have any long-term consequences for any future career she might want, but at least she's making money and no longer mooching off me, so that's a plus. Story 20. Not a parent, I'm the kid. I had an ex get out of control and threatened to send pictures of my work to my dad. I told him before he received a picture of me with a D in my mouth unknowingly. After explaining the whole situation, I joked, in my defense, it was a really good picture of me. My dad is great under pressure, so without missing a beat, he said, if he sends it, I'll be sure to tell him that. Story 21. Don't have an OnlyFans, but I'm an online sex worker and erotic hypnotist. My parents know because I told them. My dad's reaction was slight discomfort, but he's chill with it. My mom's reaction was, "You can't do that, don't you know?" which was odd. Now, she just doesn't want to hear anything about it, understandably. Story 22. My stepdaughter has one. She posted it on her Facebook for all her 1,000 plus family and friends to see. Her dad was humiliated because his whole family can see the previews she posts, but ultimately said, it's her life. I'm not allowed to discuss it with him, and he isn't friends with her on Facebook. Story 23. I'm a stripper part-time, but never had an OnlyFans. When I told my now father, he told me, "Shh, I had no idea you had rhythm." To me, a strip club is safer. I have a very strong security team, a strict set of rules to follow, and I get a free gym membership. The other side of that coin, the club is my stage to anyone who walks in, versus OnlyFans, where it's the literal planet of who you perform for. I'll take the club any day.